Robots Radio presents
Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
Hey, I can look at myself naked.
Are you stoned or something?
They tried stoning me, my dear. It did not work.
He likes to create his own sauce.
Well, did you sleep with a man who also slept with Mom and Grandma Catherine?
What? You slept with Dad?
All right. Which one of you sardines call this meat?
Whatever, Major Loser.
Let the party begin!
There we
It
go.
always says avoid illegal snags by telling people they're being recorded.
Oh, what, am I being recorded? I didn't know that.
Absolutely not, Chad.
What are you gonna do with this information? I'm scared.
Try and make money. God.
Oh, we need to. You know, I would be considered an otter in the gay community. They would love me.
You are an otter.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I know. I wear it like a badge of pride.
I would.
Yeah. It was so funny. We were having this conversation about like what we were in the office the other day, and like we're just like, oh, I'm an otter. My friend's a bear, and one of the women was like, one of the women we work with, she was like, oh, what am I? And I was like, a lesbian. You guys don't get
It's completely different.
Yeah. All right, let's. I don't actually have one for this one, so give me 1 second.
Just whatever feels right to you.
Whatever floats.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, let's clap it out.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Nice. 3, 2, 1. And 3, 2, 1.
Lovely.
Okay. Hello, and welcome to Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast. The podcast that's like an energy-saving light bulb. It may be a little bit dimmer than the others, but in the long run, it will save you money and the planet. That's Simone LaRue.
That's Chad Ekowitz. That was adorable.
Right? Don't you just love energy-saving light bulbs? You know they're a little bit worse. Like, they don't emit as much light. But you know what? They're trying their best, and we're saving the planet.
Also, I'm like fucking ancient now. Like, I just need dim mood lighting all the time.
What, just to keep, like, have you worked out that energy-saving light bulbs is like your lighting? Like, that's the ideal lighting.
It's also just where my skin looks best.
I would love it if just like all clubs for like 5 minutes just turned on all the lights, just so you saw the reality of where you were at, and then turn them off again.
Our viewers on YouTube can't know that I'm actually 60.
But you look amazing at 460.
Thanks, Chad.
Don't you hate it when people do that? Oh, you look amazing for your age. You don't need the qualifier, asshole.
I'm so guilty of that. When we have like respondents and we're running research, sometimes like I only ever do it when I mean it sincerely, is I have to ask their age, like for our programming and whatever.
Yeah.
So like some woman goes like, oh, I'm 50. Sometimes I'm like, what? Like, girl, you do not look 50. And then like they're like, haha, it's true, and I have 3 children. And I'm like, what are you doing with your skin? And they're women of color, so that's what they're doing with their skin. Just being lucky.
Being amazingly genetically superior to our horrible white skin that just looks at the sun and it ages like parchment.
If I even think about UV rays too hard, I get a new wrinkle.
It's great. The slow demise as time marches on is always a fun thing.
We're so lucky.
Yeah, so lucky. I'm trying to pull some sort of segue out of this. Speaking of lucky, we're not. Shit. What are we doing this week? Fuck it.
Fuck it. We're doing the genre we had forgotten about. We're doing Shark Week, Chad.
I'm so unbelievably happy. Do you love Shark Week? Like when it's on TV, when it's on the Discovery Channel, how much do you just fucking bawl for Shark Week?
So full disclosure, I do love sharks. I think they're amazing and underrated and just super, super cool. I just don't like nature documentaries because they make me sad.
Oh, why? Because some animals get eaten and others don't?
Yeah, or I watched a horrible documentary a couple of years back about the shark fin soup industry and how like fucking
Oh, yeah.
horrible that is, and they have like I know horrible stuff happens to the environment.
Mm.
I don't need to be confronted with it. Like I'll just take my money if I don't have to see it.
Yeah, no, agreed. It is horrible and like, yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. And they just like
And the
toss
ocean
them
in
back over the. Oh,
particular is fucking brutal.
yeah, no, it's not right. It's not okay. I don't know. I just don't understand how people can like genuinely think that this is okay, like what they do to sharks and like by finning them and stuff. No, awful, awful. And so these movies get their own back on people because people are the worst. And those movies, Simone, what are they?
Haha, we are celebrating the punishment of the hubris of man. We are watching Jason Statham try to do an American accent for 4 whole seconds in The Meg. And we are watching the low budget Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus.
I don't know what you're talking about. That was a $1 billion film, wasn't it? Was oh, I love it. I mean, we'll talk about it later, I'm sure, but I love like cheap CGI because they just use the same shots over and over again, but like swap them around. So they'll just like rotate them from left to right, and that is just so funny.
You know
So
what? When you
funny.
have a budget to stick to, you fucking find a way, and we will talk about it.
I'm excited. I'm excited for Simone's Thrifty Hour. That's my favorite of all the hours.
Me every time I go shopping.
Hell yeah. So Simone, tell us, what are you drinking this week?
We're recording on a weeknight, so everybody can prepare for some super fun chaos energy for Shark Week.
Love it.
But I'm just having the tiniest little glass of white wine because I've had a very busy Monday. And also I had some in my fridge.
That's fair. That's fair. And you know what? You're a working lady. You bring home the dollar, and you deserve to relax with a nice glass of wine after work.
Also, it's so tiny, Chad. Like, look at it.
Oh.
It's so small.
For the
It's
YouTube
just
people
little.
who's watching, I bet you all just went, "Oh, it's so small." It's not. It's more like a port glass than a
It really is.
wine glass.
This is my my responsibility wine glass because it's proven that when you drink out of smaller glasses, you actually drink less over time. Obviously, because you're refilling more, it makes sense. So, like, if I'm like, okay, Simone, I've got to be like a responsible bitch tonight, then I'll drink out of this smaller wine glass.
Ah, look at that! Because you know that if you drank out of a normal wine glass, it would be a nightmare. You're
like it's
future-proofing
juice.
yourself. Yeah. Oh, look at you.
It's all about tricking myself into being a responsible human being as opposed to relying on like my innate willpower.
Because you don't have any. We don't have any.
No.
It's not there.
Look, the world is
Amazing.
falling apart. Sometimes it just needs to glug some wine, you know?
Mama needs a gallon rather than a sippy cup.
Yeah, especially with what's all happening in the UK.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
You guys are doing great.
coronavirus. We're fine. Look, we've got 4 people with coronavirus now. It's growing. I mean, and then other stuff that we don't need to mention. We don't need to mention the rest. It's fine.
No,
It's
this is a
fine.
fun time.
Fun times. I am not drinking anything because I am still at work. Being a Monday, instead of driving all the way home just to podcast, which is a huge waste of time, I just do it from the office, which is really, really nice. But I don't really like drinking in the office if I'm just drinking alone. So I am drinking nothing today.
It's one thing to have like a cheeky drink with your colleagues in the office, and it's another thing to be sitting in a room alone talking to your computer while drinking.
Yeah. It's fine when you do it at home, but not when you're at the office. Bad.
You've got a super fun background today, though.
I know, it's all blue and there's people in it. It's very interesting.
One disembodied hand.
It's very
out the
exciting.
back.
Which, I mean, it's
Foreshadowing.
really, really pertinent to what we're going to be talking about. Well, since last Chaotic Monday, I went first because I wasn't drinking. Do you think you should go first this time around?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I am drinking the highest percent alcohol. I didn't write a synopsis because it made me
Neither
want
did
to
I.
tear my eyes out.
Fair.
So I have read one and I've got like one in my head, and I'm just gonna do my best, like the people who made this movie did.
They really did. They plugged along, didn't they? They were really sweet. Yeah.
Okay. So, this movie starts with a big setup and a couple of different things happening all over the world. First, we have Emma McNeil. She is an oceanographer who's gone rogue. She's taken a vessel from the Research Institute and is sailing off the coast of, or submarinum, off the coast of Alaska when she notices a whole pod of whales gets disrupted. Her whole submarine goes crazy. She captures some weird footage on video. She just thinks she saw something giant, but she's not sure. But she luckily survives. She's rescued. She comes back. Her boss is very angry with her because she did a thing she's not supposed to do, and for some reason he's the bad guy. When she's back, also they find a whale that was beached up on, well, beached. Everybody thinks it's because it got caught in the propeller of a big ship, but she's like, no, clearly something like bit it or whatever, and later sneaks back on site to grab something out that looks like a tooth fragment. She takes it to her former colleague, Alan Baxter, played by Lorenzo Lamas, who is apparently Irish.
Really?
We'll
Really?
get into that too. After they do some science, they determine that the tooth could only have belonged to a megalodon, which is an ancient, very huge species of shark that we will hear more about in the next movie. They are then visited by Alan Baxter's old colleague, Seiji Shimada, played by Vic Chow, who tells them that like weird things have been attacking oil drilling stations in Japan, and he wants to know what it is. Before the three of them can get any further, they are all kidnapped by some government organization that's like, hey, you need to figure out what this is right now, as if they weren't doing that already, so that we can get rid of it. The three of them do some more science, find some video footage, and realize that there is a megalodon and a giant octopus. They managed to talk the government out of nuking it because that's a terrible idea. But instead, they're like, hey, what if we like used pheromones, which incidentally, and then Seiji got the idea after they hooked up very unsexily in the server room.
I don't know what you're talking about. That was a hot scene.
Why don't we use pheromones to lure the shark and the octopus into San Francisco Bay and some other Japanese bay, respectively, and then, like, bomb them? That fails spectacularly. The shark jumps up and bites the Golden Gate Bridge. It's bomb. The octopus, like, does stuff. No one cares. They don't really show it because they don't have the budget. So then they're like, okay, our other option is to lure them together and have them fight each other because they're so huge, and when they were frozen in the ice, they were locked in battle. So, like, naturally, maybe they'd fight and, like, just kill each other for us. What follows is a huge battle that for some reason they need to be right in the fucking middle of. Ships explode. None of the main characters die. The shark and giant octopus lock together in battle, and thank God they do kill each other and sink into the deep depths of the ocean. And the whole gang's back together, and they're off for their next oceanography adventure. The end.
That was beautiful. You know what? Even though you didn't write it, it was almost as if you actually wrote the script itself, because it was as ridiculous and as chaotic as the actual script was.
Thank you.
It was...
And I really wanted to also capture the feeling of watching this movie.
Yeah, wait, why? Wait, what are they doing? But why? Yeah. So tell me, what's your cliffhanger?
Oh, it's got to be this one. And this is when Emma is being introduced to Seiji for the first time. And it's just like, it's so poorly edited. Like, there are all these like awkward pauses and cuts, and like the dialogue is so fucking bizarre.
I loved that scene so very much as well, because as soon as they locked eyes on each other, I was like, they're gonna fuck. Like, it was preordained.
Oh my God, Rudy and I too. We were like, oh, so they're fucking.
Yeah, thank you. It was so blatantly obvious. It was just like, oh, right, okay, for no reason they're gonna fuck now. Yeah, exactly. We've watched too many bad movies that we know exactly when people could be fucking.
Even those actors could pull off steamy eye contact.
Oh man, it was good. And look, to be fair, they're a great couple. They work well together.
It's
I
really
think.
cute. They bonded over their love of the ocean and their urge to do conservation work. Like, it's adorable.
Yeah. It's really lovely. I hate that she calls herself a mermaid. That drove me crazy a little.
Can I tell you what drove me crazy, Chad? Were all the scenes where they do science and they're just like
please.
pouring random liquids into beakers. Okay. No one's wearing safety goggles. Barely any lab coats happen. There were no gloves. They mix stuff in a measuring cylinder, which, like, if you tried that shit, would make any science person scream at you. And then my favorite part is they always have, like, a microscope there, but it's like a child's microscope. And you're not, I'm not sure what they're looking at.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it was great because, like, there's these long montages of, like, science in quotes and, like, pouring stuff into beakers and shit. And then the guy goes, "Yep, it's a tooth." That was shit funny.
And he's like, yeah, it's a tooth, and this is how big it was. And it was like all you had to do was measure it and do some math. Why were all the chemicals there?
What are the chemicals gonna show us? I thought about that when they were doing the science. I was like, Simone is gonna hate all of this.
And then the worst part in the second round when they're doing more science, I think with the pheromones or whatever.
Yeah.
At one point it like turns the wrong color and she does like a sad head shake. But then when they get it right, both of her like teammates like kiss her on the cheek as like a yay, we did it. And I was like, that is wildly inappropriate.
Like, it's the weirdest group of people you've ever met. That Irish doctor makes me laugh so hard. Irish in quotes. Because he's just popping along. He's just like joining along for all the things. He doesn't know that the two scientists be fucking. And like, how do you not know they be fucking? It's outrageous.
They are so clearly fucking. They're like, hey, yeah, we're gonna go have a conversation. They come back like disheveled and whatever, and they're like, sexual attraction.
Oh, it was brilliant. Oh yeah, we're gonna go for a walk. You know, a walk. It's like, wow. All right, guys. Like, that's fine. That is.
Especially because I'm that clueless friend who'd be like, oh, where
good.
are you going?
Can I come?
I love walks.
It's like, no, Simone, special walk. Just the two of us.
I've probably C-blocked people many a time without realizing it.
I wouldn't be surprised. What bugged me from the very beginning was, I don't know if hammerhead sharks can survive in Alaskan frozen waters. I don't think they would be able to.
I mean, a megalodon survived being frozen for like thousands and thousands of years, Chad. If we start questioning one thing.
You have a point. You can't question these things. Yeah, very, very interesting. So, what did you like about it?
You know what? Like, we're shitting on it a lot, but we have to remember this is like a B-grade, low-budget film from 2009. They were doing the best they could. And you know what? It was very creative. Did they use the same ship background regardless of what ship they were showing? Yes. But that's kind of fun.
It was very creative.
Did they keep reusing the same footage, just flipped or like sped up slightly, or sometimes not even that? Yes. Did every time they were showing the same U.S. Navy base, did they use the exact same stock footage of a soldier in sunglasses holding a rifle? Yes. You just have to lean into it. You have to be like, this is what's happening. This is what they had to work with. Let's see where they went with it, and just have a good time. I was laughing the whole way through.
It was a genuinely good time. And the best part about it is you've also got to remember that the lead female was part of a pop group in like the 80s and 90s. So she was a singer, a very famous singer before she was an actress in inverted commas. Hold on, let's have a look at what her name is. It's unbelievable.
Her name is Debbie Gibson. Hang on, I've got the IMDb page open.
Oh, fantastic.
Hang the fuck on. What? Creative force in the entertainment industry who does it all! Exclamation point. What the fuck? What is she in? Deborah Gibson exploded onto the pop scene at the tender age of 16. She quickly became the youngest person to ever write, produce, and perform a #1 single called "Foolish Beat," a record which she still proudly holds to this day. She has sold over 16 million albums worldwide to date. Her extraordinary career has garnered her #1 Billboard hits, platinum albums, ASCAP Songwriter of the Year honors, sold out audiences around the world, and rave reviews for her starring roles on Broadway.
And then the greatest thing to ever happen to her, Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus, without question. Best decision she ever made.
Shit.
Right? How bonkers is that?
I had no idea about any of this.
Yeah, right? It's amazing. I'm so chuffed by this. It's the best. But yeah,
Lord.
I know, right?
She wrote her own Broadway musical called Skirts.
Unbelievable. Did it
Watch
do?
it.
I wonder. Yeah, I think that's something we have to dig up and try and find. Skirts. Good lord, that's exciting. I'm excited.
Okay, I had no idea.
Yeah. Unbelievable, right?
Yeah. Okay,
Very
Debbie Gibson.
Good on you, Debbie Gibson. But yeah, I completely agree with you. This was just a hell of a fun movie. It was just ridiculous from start to finish, and that's the fun bit about it. It is a mega shark fighting a giant octopus. This is just one of those films that's up there with like Sharknado, Jurassic Shark,
Totally.
Piranha, all of those great movies, and you've just got to enjoy it. The fact that they tried to assemble some plot together is pretty impressive in itself.
Totally. Look, we can't rank this on the same scale that we rank a lot of the other movies we do. I mean,
Yeah.
Chad, do you want to guess what this got on Rotten Tomatoes?
I'm gonna say 26%.
Oh, honey, 18%.
Oh, that's not fair. That is not fair. That is
Isn't
not
it?
fair. No, Simone, I'm sorry, but they're taking it as like a benchmark being like Citizen Kane or Inside Out, and they're comparing it
Sure.
to this. They're in a completely different galaxy. It's not
That's
fair.
true.
What would you give it then?
I think a solid 30.
Mm.
And then a decently high, ironically high audience score.
Yeah, exactly. What is the audience score?
It's like 20%.
Oh, okay. Well, shit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I believe this is in like a long series of movies, is it not?
Yeah. When I was like looking it up earlier, it was like Mega Shark versus Mecha Shark. And,
Yes.
yeah, all kinds of shit.
Yeah. Okay, so I think the most important question that I need to ask you is, who do you think should have won? Because
Okay, who
it was
would
kinda
really have won,
bullshit.
you mean?
Yes, because it was kind of bullshit that they killed each other, because they really didn't.
Mega Octopus, or like Giant Octopus wins every time. Octopi are so smart. It would have
Mhm.
outsmarted the shark. And also, octopi, I guess some of them are aggressive, but they're not huge fighters. It would have been like, dude, can't we just like keep like destroying the world or whatever?
Yeah. Join up. Join forces.
Yeah.
Rule the world. Yeah. Yeah. That would
I
make
mean,
sense. Yeah.
They're just so much
Yeah.
smarter. And it had the advantage of just like let the one tentacle like drift in front of the shark's mouth, the same tentacle. Like
The
twice. A real octopus
tentacle.
would never.
No. It learns from its mistakes. They are so
Uh-huh.
clever. Yeah.
so
And that shark is just that shark would just like go in for an attack. It wouldn't sort of have any thoughts about it or anything. It would just go for
The
the attack.
scene where the shark jumps out of the water to chomp on the plane is fucking iconic.
That scene should have gotten Oscar. I don't know what for. Best supporting actor, I guess, but unbelievably good scene.
The best is the very beginning because like the plane's experiencing turbulence. That's why it's flying
Uh-huh.
lower. And the air hostess is walking through and she's like, "Oh, it's okay, sir. It's just like some turbulence." And he turns to her and he goes, "I get married in 2 days."
Oh, that was. Okay, guys.
Says
it
to
was
an air
brilliant.
hostess. And she's like, "Okay."
Okay. It's brilliant because like obviously the director was like, how do we make people feel emotions for this for this plane that no one knows anything about? And they were like, well, in a lot of police films they say that the guy's retiring in 2 days, but we're
Yeah.
not in a police Station. What can we do?
Hmm.
Marriage. Marriage. We'll force the line in. We'll force it in like a shoehorn. Unbelievable work.
If anyone listening is an actual steward on an airline, please let me know if people say weird shit like that to you ever since there's turbulence.
Please, guys, if any of you know anyone with any fun stories about that, we will dedicate a whole episode. It will be amazing.
Oh my god, the rest
I
of
would
this
love
podcast.
Oh, it'd be unbelievable. So, Simone, let's move on. What is your scene that could have saved this?
I would have liked to see a better fight scene between, the shark and the octopus. That would have been
Oh, of course.
that would have been cool. But otherwise, I'm not touching this movie. It is perfect in its imperfection.
Fair.
You can't just fix it with one scene, but it is what it is. It has kind of a plot. It was very enjoyable.
It's fun. It is fun. Yeah.
What's your
but
scene?
Yeah. So my scene, right now, the whole movie is basically a giant moral of we're killing the oceans. We need to stop. Man's hubris will make the oceans extinct. I would have loved to see that really push through, and whatever the guys try, the octopus and the shark just don't die, and they don't fight against each other, and they actually, like you said, work together, and they take back the oceans. So man has to live on land, and just you've got this mega shark and the octopus who stay in the water, and anytime anyone tries to get in the water, they get killed. And then it's just like this really beautiful harmony where humans have to live on land and they kill themselves off, and then you've got all the ocean life living it up again, and then we all start again, and all humans have now died out because they can't get fish and they can't live in the oceans, and then evolution starts again, and like fish start emerging out the sea again, and it's evolution 2.0, and maybe this time, thanks to mega shark and giant octopus, we get it right.
You know what? I'm down for that. I really liked the beginning where they found that the shark had attacked a shark fishing vessel. I was all down for that.
It's like, yeah, go on, shark.
Yeah, get them.
Get those dicks. Yeah. No, that was cool. That was very cool. So yeah, that would be my scene. And I mean, would you watch it again?
Probably not. No, I think movies like this are really fun to watch like the first time, but like rewatchability isn't quite there.
Yeah. No, completely agree with you. It's the novelty and the joy in it is just watching it that first time. Like when you know what's about to happen, it gets a bit lame. I would definitely watch Mecha Shark and Mega Shark and all the rest of them.
Oh yeah,
definitely, without question.
I just want to see how they get to that point.
Oh yeah, definitely. That would be amazing. A robot Mega Shark, excellent work.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you very much, Simone. Thank you for bringing that into our lives.
Thank you for allowing me to. Chad, tell me about the Meg.
I shall tell you about the Meg. I also did not write a synopsis, which chaotic Monday energy. And I am definitely not as good as you at just making up synopses on the fly. So if I do miss anything out, please just do remind me. But also, again, very little need for a plot for this one, really.
You can just edit this very seamlessly together later. And full disclosure, I fell asleep during the main action scene and woke up again at the end. So I missed a little bit.
Simone. Okay, fine. All right, so Morris, played by Rainn Wilson, owns a multi-billion-dollar marine biology company that sort of researches down in the ocean. His company have found out that the Mariana Trench is not actually the bottom of the ocean. There is, in fact, like a sulfur layer that keeps heat from sinking below it, but if you penetrate through it, you've got this whole vast ocean that's just really, really, really cold. So he gets some divers to go down there, and they open this heat pocket up. But while they're down there, they find all this amazing life, and it's really beautiful, untouched by man. Suddenly, they're attacked by this mysterious creature. The people start freaking out, and unfortunately, they have to try and escape. Meanwhile, back in like Sri Lanka or Singapore or somewhere, we meet Jonas Taylor, played by Jason Statham. He used to be a diver and a rescue diver, but when a nuclear submarine got attacked by another mysterious creature, he was sent down to go and save them, but unfortunately had to let a few people die because of the fact that all of them would have died if he hadn't have done so. This caused him serious psychiatric damage, and so he decided to say fuck that and nope all the way back to Sri Lanka, where he drinks excessively. Now Morris with his team, Mac, I think, nope, is it Zhang, played by Winston Chow? I feel like he's the head boss guy. I'm not too sure. I'm gonna say Zhang, played by Winston Chow. His Morris's head biologist go to visit Jonas over in Sri Lanka and try and convince him to come back to save the people on the dive. After some toing and froing, eventually Jonas agrees to come back. He goes down. He's able to save a couple of them while also flirting with Su Yin, played by Bing Bing Lee, who is another super clever, super hot marine biologist. They flirt a bit, they go down, they save a couple of the divers, but unfortunately one of them does die. As they're coming up, they realize that something might have gone wrong, and this open heat pocket has maybe caused some issues because they don't know what this creature is. Suddenly, we see the Meg, which is a giant prehistoric beast called a megalodon. It's like bigger than most sharks. Simone's explained it already. What happened was, as they broke through that sulfur breach, they allowed some of the hot air to sort of sink, and which hot air doesn't do, and the megalodon was able to escape, and now it's hunting them down because reasons. They go and chase it down, they eventually find it and are able to kill it and catch it somehow. Don't know how, can't remember. Really, really weird. Unfortunately, this was not the only megalodon that was released during this phase, and an even bigger megalodon comes up, eats the other megalodon, and sinks and goes and starts causing chaos again. Eventually, they are able to kill the megalodon. Can't remember how. I think it's poisoned. Not really sure. Can't remember. But they save the day. Yeah, so they save the day. To be fair, I watched this last Sunday, so it's been a bit of a
yeah.
like
I also watched it quite a while ago too.
Yeah. So eventually, so they kill the megalodon. Jonas saves the day. He ends up with Su Yin. They have a lovely time, and their daughter kind of accepts their relationship straight away, and it's really beautiful, and everything is great. The end.
The end. Chad, what is your cliffhanger?
It's the only adorable scene in this film, and it's this one where Jason Statham is talking to the 8-year-old little daughter, and they have that like really adorable interaction, and it's so nice. Yeah, it's just the best. It's just so sweet. Yeah. It's so lovely. I love every reaction between those two.
Look, this movie was much better acted. I really actually genuinely liked a lot of the actors in it. I liked the roles. I liked the storyline more or less. It was pretty compelling.
Yeah, it was lovely. But did you know it was based on a book?
No, I did not.
Yes. Apparently, it's based on a book from like the 60s, and it was like bought very shortly after it was released, and then nothing happened with it for like years. And then I think it was our favorite, Guillermo del Toro, who found the script and was like, "Yes, we should do this," and then passed it on to the director of this one, which is John Turteltaub.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it is just like, it's compelling to say the very least. I loved the megalodons in this one. That scene where the little girl is like standing over the glass cage and the megalodon just tries to like eat the cage. Brilliant.
Oh yeah, so fun, super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, cool. Yeah. Okay. Out of interest, this got 46% on Rotten Tomatoes and an audience score of 43%.
Oh, interesting. So critics liked it better than. What do you think that's a fair score?
I think so. Maybe even a little like just cracking above a 50. It was like, it was silly. Like any movie about like a fucking giant shark threatening humanity is silly. Not impossible, I hope, but nonetheless. kind of dumb.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you just have to roll with it. You just have to be like, okay, that's the situation. They let out this giant prehistoric thing from deep in the Marianas Trench because it totally makes sense that something living under that much pressure, that deep in the water, would be so large. That is how evolution works.
Yep. Tracks.
You just have to go with that. You just have to be like, yeah, Jason Statham is unclaimed nationality because in the first like 4 seconds of the movie he tries to have like an American accent and fails horribly. You just have to see the beautiful daughter of the main researcher and you're like, oh, okay, so she's gonna fuck Jason Statham. You see Ruby Rose and you're like, oh, look at her being a scientist. You look at the boat scene and you're like, I don't understand why their drone pilot had to come along for this excursion. And you know what? It's all in good fun.
Yeah, exactly. I think at the end of every scene, you just have to be like, yeah, sure, fine, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Fine.
The
We'll do
most
that.
efficient way to carry a giant shark that you just killed is to load it right up onto your teeny tiny boat.
It's bewildering that this massive shark can just fit on their boat just fine.
Yeah.
Just absolutely, it's
And
gonna be okay.
The other Meg is very patient because sometimes they're busy doing things and getting away and convening and planning, and it waits very, very kindly until a good moment to attack.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those wonderful plot points that just comes around for convenience. It's like Voldemort, because Voldemort only attacks Harry at the end of the school year once the exams are done. That's very considerate of Voldemort.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that was the vibe of the Meg. It was just like, oh, you guys are still like grieving or whatever. Cool.
Yeah, I'll patiently wait, which is great. I really loved seeing Rainn Wilson, who plays Dwight in The American Office, be like a cool billionaire character in
That's
this.
who it was. I
Right?
completely didn't recognize him.
I know. I had to like look it up. I was so confused because I was like, I recognize your face, but where from? And then I was like, oh yeah, of course, it's The Office. Of course it is. Yeah.
Okay. I was saying to Rudy, like, if I ever became like a really famous Oscar-winning actor, which like never, but like if I ever did, I'd like win an Oscar and then exclusively act in movies like this, just to like fuck with people.
I think that's fair. That would be so funny. That would be absolutely brilliant. Like, could you
It would
imagine?
be so much fun.
I mean,
And then you get paid a bunch of money to like barely act. Amazing.
yeah. Do you think that's
Like
what
I
Judi
peaked
Dench
at my
is doing
Oscar.
now?
I'm done. I'm going home. Bye.
Do you think that's what Judi Dench is doing now with Cats?
Oh, I laugh hysterically every time I think of Cats because you have to, or you will scream.
Yeah, 100%. Because remember, Simone, cats are not dogs. I didn't know if you knew that.
Jellicles can and Jellicles do, Chad.
Oh no. Okay, we're done with
No,
that.
it's not.
Oh god, I think the most unbelievable thing about this movie, beyond evolutionary fails, is the fact that that little fucking dog survived. I was so mad
God, yeah.
about that little bitch dog, little fucker.
Leave the little bitch dog alone.
No, that thing should have died. I don't
All
understand.
dog sizes are valid.
Look, it's not about the smallness of the dog size, but it should have just been eaten. That megalodon.
Okay,
should have
yeah,
just
and
chapped.
also someone as hot as Su Yin would never have really hooked up with fucking ancient Jason Statham, but here we are.
Whoa, that is some ageist comments from Simone.
He is this old grizzly dude who has done nothing but chill on a beach in Thailand for like years. He must smell so like
Oh,
beer
yeah.
must be coming out of his pores all the time. I mean, we're supposed to believe that he has a six-pack with all of that, but like in real life, he'd be this like old, like leathery dude with like the sharpest stubble you've ever seen, smelling like cheap cigarettes and shit beer, with like the biggest bump. And everyone deserves love. Everybody deserves, to feel valid, and all body types are beautiful. But am I supposed to believe that the highly successful, super beautiful marine biologist is going to take one look at that guy and be like, oh yeah,
Yes.
I want him
like,
to raise
with
my daughter.
This will be healthy. This is a healthy thing to do. It was just, can you imagine it? Like, that is a scene I would love to see, where like they're just in like a really confined space together, and she's just like, dude, I can't, I actually cannot be around you right now. It smells so bad.
I would have loved that.
That
That
would
would have made my whole life.
Yeah, that would be excellent. It's also, can we just talk about the random subplot of his ex-wife being on the boat? What the fuck was that?
Especially because it doesn't like super amount to anything. Like he rescues
No.
her and they do like a cheeky banter, but clearly like, you know, it's all water under the bridge at this point, and she like wishes him the best and he like wishes her the best, and like
Yeah,
it's really a non-story.
yeah, I was so confused. But
Well, they had to have a
anyway,
reason for him to come back.
fair, fine, allow it. So tell me, Simone, what did you like about this one?
I've told you everything I liked about the movie.
Okay, fair enough. Then shall we move on? What is your scene that could have saved it?
You know, now that you mention it, that scene where like he's in close quarters with Steven and she's like,
Well, can't.
I'm sorry, could you please, I know we're in a submarine, but I want to crack a window.
I literally, I can't think. You smell so. I can't do this.
You smell so bad.
That would be really funny. Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Oh, I love it.
Anyway, that's the scene I want.
Fair.
And then like it creates some tension down the road because she has to like jump into his arms to escape like off a sinking ship or some shit, and she like really hesitates because she doesn't want to touch him.
Yeah, exactly. It would be so good. It adds a lot of comedy to the movie, which it desperately needed.
Yeah, it was really needed.
What would I say? Scene that could have saved it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have really just liked to see maybe the two sharks fighting against each other, maybe just to add like a little bit more tension. Because apparently, like the mini shark is just attacking, and then when it's dead, the big shark is like, "Yeah, cool. Now it's my time." What? No, you guys would be like working together. Like, what is that about?
Who knows?
Who knows? Also, something incredibly lacking before we finish this up in both films, and this is maybe what's the problem with shark films, is that they paint sharks as just like purely evil, where sharks are actually very much like dogs. They just bite things to identify what they are, and then they usually leave you alone. They don't actually eat humans that often. So
sharks don't generally go after humans unless the water's like been chummed, so there's like a bunch of blood in the water and they're like in a little bit of a frenzy. Or what often happens is they mistake, I mean, I stand to be corrected, like this is old information, they mistake humans for seals when people are in surfboards, because from the bottom they look like seals. But for the most part, also, if a shark is full, it's not gonna attack you.
No, exactly.
So, like, you know, that shark would have finished off the whale and its mom, which was very sad. I love whales so much. They're the sweet teddy bears of the ocean. But, like, it would have, like, finished off that and, like, been like, okay, cool. Like, I am good for the next couple days, at least.
Yeah, exactly. And then it would have been fine. But no. Apparently, all sharks are murderers. And that's what's wrong with sort of, like, we're trying to change that kind of attitude, because sharks are actually fucking cool. They're so awesome animals.
You're more likely to die because of a toaster than you are to die because of a shark.
Exactly. And so just leave them alone. Like, you know, Jaws, The Meg, all of these films really paint sharks very, very badly. And it's not fair.
And in the footnotes below, guys, we are going to link to a couple of shark charities that you can contribute to if you love sharks as much as we do.
Exactly. So do it, guys. And even if you don't, they deserve your money. They really, really do.
Yeah.
So, Simone, final one. Would you watch this, The Meg, again?
You know, this is actually a great movie to get hammered with your friends and watch.
Yeah.
Like, you only have to half pay attention. Like, the dialogue doesn't really matter, but it's, like, a fun movie to, like, throw popcorn at the screen, have some snacks, have a couple beers, make a drinking game out of it. Like, this is a great movie for that.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, completely agree. I would also, definitely watch it again, especially around friends who haven't watched it before, because it is just, it's fun to watch Jason Statham do a Jason Statham thing. It always has been.
It's Oh man, Jason Statham.
Jason Statham. Oh, that's how South Africa feels about Jason Statham.
These fucking birds.
These birds. So Simone, we've done it again. Sharks can
done it.
now they can go back to the depths and leave humanity to keep their hubris going.
It's fine. We'll just destroy each other.
That's
like Mega Shark and Giant Octopus. It was all a metaphor.
it was. That film is a lot smarter than you think it was.
Yeah, guys.
Come on, you guys. So, Simone, tell us, what are we doing next week?
Do you have an
Now,
idea?
I have an idea. Okay. Since, obviously, we fucked up Valentine's Day because we planned this so very badly. What if we did, because we said this a couple weeks ago, what
Yeah.
if we did the High School Musicals?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's just
Yeah.
have some fun, get it out the way.
Yeah, because we love those films. We really,
Yeah.
we're sad and pathetic, but we love those films. Cool. So, how do you want to divide it? Just so I don't mind. How did we do it before? We just talked about like?
Yeah. I think
yeah.
like one of us did 1 and 3 and the other did 2, but I
Yeah.
don't remember which order. I think you did 1 and 3, so I'll do 1 and 3 this time.
Okay, cool, and I'll do
And
2.
you do 2.
Yeah, cool, because 2 is my favorite as well, so that's fine.
2 is the most infuriating one.
Cool. All right, let me intro it again. All right. So, Simone, what are we doing next week?
Chad, this is something that's going to be really exciting for listeners of our old podcast that's not that bad. Because we teased for ages that we were going to do a High School Musical episode. We teased that it existed in the ether, but I think I've since lost it. So we are going to record a brand new, fresh High School Musical episode. We're going to do all 3. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about our own personal traumas from high school. It is going to be a time. Also, it's going to be better than the first recording we did, because remember, we were novice podcasters.
Beautiful.
We tried to do all 3 movies, but like in full.
Yeah, we're just like literally, guys, like one episode. I think that episode was like a good 2.5 hours long. It
3
was
hours.
fucking intense.
Getting
My
more and
girlfriend,
more
my
drunk,
ex, yeah.
more and more delirious.
My ex-girlfriend was so pissed off with me afterwards. She was like, "You've been in there for like 4 hours, and I've just had to sit here waiting." And I was like, "Sorry, High School Musicals," because I was so drunk by that time. That was a weary time. A weary time for us.
And that's when we learned our lessons also about doing trilogies.
Yeah.
Hence why we, like when we did Twilight, we skipped over a couple movies.
Oh, but have we really learnt our lessons? Because we did it again with Descendants, and we did it again with 50 Shades.
Better at it
We're
now.
better at it. Yeah. And that's something that you can bet on it.
Hey, you can really, you guys can bet we're gonna get our heads in the game.
Hey, I'm so ready for people to get our references now, because we can really like go into this. I'm so excited for this. Very, very
We
excited.
are all in this together.
Exactly, and we're all stars. But okay, so before we get into this, because we're ruining all of our content for next week, apart from now the fact that we're doing the HSM universe, what is your optimistic thing for this week?
My optimistic thing for this week is that I did something spontaneous this weekend for the first time in a very long time. Basically, we went out to watch a movie with some friends, and then they were getting dinner afterwards, and we were like, we don't really feel like dinner, but we'll come join you for a drink afterwards. And then we stayed for a while, and we met these 2 really nice dudes from like overseas, and we ended up chatting to them, and then we looked up, and it was 2 a.m.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Sloan, that's way past your bedtime.
Chad, I have not stayed up till 2 a.m. for a very long time. As you know, my brain shuts down exactly at 9:30 at night.
Yeah, that is very
like a
true.
machine.
That's
So I stayed
cool.
up, and then our car was locked in an underground parking, so we had to Uber home. And then like Rudy left his phone in the Uber, so I really paid for it the next day, and I'm never going to be spontaneous again. But
You've
it's just
learned
been a
your
very long
lesson.
time since I've tried to function off of 3.5 hours of sleep, because I had a full day the next day. and I did it. But it was really fun. It was such a fun weekend. It's been ages since we did something like that, and like went out and like met cool people, and I have no regrets, except I wish we hadn't left our car in the underground parking, but we didn't know we were going to stay there until 2 in the morning, so.
No, exactly. That's so nice though. Like, good on you for
Yeah.
doing something this is spontaneous and really fun. Ah, well done.
Yeah.
Nice.
Even if I was
movie it?
immediately punished for it.
Yeah. What movie was it? And who were the guys? Like, where overseas were they from?
Well, we'll probably talk about this in the mini-sode that I watched it, but it was Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
guy?
And the guys were from Sweden and Finland.
Oh, lovely. Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh.
Yeah. And what is your optimistic thing for the week? I know someone got a distinction in EU law.
That is exactly my optimistic thing for the week. I'm way back into it again. I'm very, very happy. I was starting to lose a bit of hope over the law thing, you know, just like applying for law jobs and stuff and being like turned down and turned down and turned down. I was like, well, this shit is stupid. I don't want to do this anymore. And then I got a really good mark. I got a distinction in my EU law exam. So I was well chuffed with that, and I was like, I can do this. I can.
Yeah, you can totally do it, Chad.
So, yeah, I'm really chuffed with that. It was really great. Yeah, so I'm well chuffed, and I can breathe a sigh of relief with only four exams left. So excited.
Yay!
Should be good. Yeah. So good, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We really, really appreciate it. Tell us your host and hostess stories. Tell us about how much you love sharks. What is your favorite bad shark movie? What is your favorite good shark movie? Tell us what you want to see us do in terms of either animal movies that are not talking animal movies, or any other movies where the victim, the bad guy, is not actually the bad guy. Also, while you're telling us all these things, why not leave us a comment and a rating? We really do appreciate it. It puts us up the things. As you know, algorithms devote and control most of our lives. And where can the people do all of this stuff, Simone?
They can talk to us on Facebook or Instagram at Fresh Tomatoes Podcast, Twitter at Fresh Tomatoes MP. They can email us at freshtomatoespodcast@gmail.com, and they can watch full, uncut recording videos of our recordings on YouTube if they type in Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
Boom, boom, boom. And yeah, guys, we really, really appreciate everything that you do and all the love that you send us. It's always just, it warms the cockles of our hearts. And as we say at the end of every episode, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Goodbye.